What's up everyone, it's Kelly and today I've got another swatch review for you. So today we are talking about the latest from Orly. We actually have two new collections to go over today. We have their Apres Ski collection, which is their winter 2024 set. And then we also have a trio of Christmas inspired polishes called Spread the Cheer. Now, if you haven't heard of Orly before, they are a mainstream nail polish brand and all of their polishes are vegan, meaning they do not use any animal derived ingredients. They're cruelty free, meaning they do not test their products on animals, and they're also listed as being formulated without harmful ingredients. So like I said, two sets today, the first of which is a more classic winter inspired palette. I feel like the colors kind of invoke this more cozy sweater vibe, a little bit of like a ski vibe, but we also have a couple of colors in there that are good Hanukkah shades. And then we have the trio, which is more Christmas inspired shades, and we actually have two holo polishes in there, which are actually super holographic, so I was very excited to try those. But yeah, let me just dive into all of the swatches, then we can go over my thoughts on them, and then we can talk about pricing, availability, all that good stuff. So roll the swatch footage. So as always with my swatch and review videos, I am using base coat underneath all of my swatches just to protect my natural nail and prevent any stains. Today, to nobody's surprise, it's the Orly Bonder base coat. So I'll start off with the 6-piece collection, the Apres Ski collection. I feel like I'm really going in on that accent, but hopefully it's impressive. But this first shade is called Chalet Getaway, and this one is a beige nude cream. And I gotta say, this feels like it's almost a perfect match for my exact skin tone. It's got a nice level of warmth to it. It's a little bit deeper than my actual skin tone. And I will say, Orly in general, I think makes really great nude polishes. I think they have a nice range from dark to light, and they also do a lot of different undertones, which is really appreciated. And what I really enjoy about them in general is just the quality and opacity. You can actually see the first coat totally covered my visible nail line and it looked really nice, but I did do two for full coverage here. Next up we have the shade Snow Bunny, and this one is a blush pink cream shade. And let me tell you, when I see colors like this, I always get a little bit nervous because I always associate them with being either really chalky and not easy to apply on the nails, or really sheer and taking like 3 to 4 coats. But this one was so impressive in opacity. It actually did give me really nice coverage in the first coat, but again, I did do 2 for full coverage, and I think this is such a stunning shade. I love that it kind of feels adjacent to being a beige nude polish, but it has that little soft pinkiness to it, and I think that this is honestly an any time of year pink, so I really enjoyed that. And then we have the shade Fresh Powder, which is kind of the baby blue counterpart to Snow Bunny. So again, we have this very light pastel kind of shade, and this one is a very warm undertone blue. So it has almost a little bit of like this turquoise teal kind of undertone to it. And again, the opacity is just incredibly stunning. It's so easy and smooth and workable. So very beginner friendly formula on what I would consider to be a relatively difficult color to get right. So very impressive. Again, it just feels like an any time of year kind of color, a nice palette cleanser. It's a perfect almost white that's not quite white, so it doesn't feel like you have white out on your nails, but it's still a very light and soft color. It would actually be a really beautiful wedding kind of shade. And then we have the shade Last Run, and this one is a deeper, almost navy blue cream shade. So on the first coat, I actually noticed that this one had a little bit more of a jelly-like formula, but it ended up giving me really nice opacity in 2 coats. And what I really enjoyed about this color is having the depth of it, but still having the saturation of that blue. I feel like around this time of year, we tend to get more of the grayed out navy kind of colors, but I feel like this one still had a lot of nice vibrance to it. So it does feel a little wintry and chilly, but it's still very saturated and bright. Moving on, we have the specialty finishes of the collection. This first one is called Twinkling Lights, and it's a really beautiful metallic soft pink glitter. And when I saw this one in the bottle, I actually thought that this was a topper, but once I started applying it, I realized it's actually a little bit too opaque to be a topper, but I do think it would actually work really nicely for a glitter gradient. We have that really beautiful, again, kind of blush toned pink going on, and it ended up covering my visible nail line really nicely in 2 coats, so I was very impressed with that. It kind of feels, again, kind of adjacent to a nude manicure, but still having that sparkly element, so it has a bit of an elegance to it that I really enjoy. And then the last shade in this first collection, this is Double Diamond, and it is a really shimmery, almost white silver metallic polish. And as soon as I saw this one, I knew that this one was meant to be the glistening snow that you see on the ground. And that is exactly what it looks like to me. I started off with 2 coats and I actually love this look where it's very slightly sheer. You can see a little hint of that visible nail line through, but it almost reminds me of the way that the light does hit the snow. But I also was curious to see it as a more full coverage polish, so I did achieve that in 3 coats, and that's where I really got that beautiful silvery color going on. So I love shades like this because I do kind of like, depending on my mood, to play around with how opaque I want to polish. So it's nice to have both options. I really think it looks beautiful both ways. So now getting into the trio, this is the Spread the Cheer collection, and I think that this feels like more of a traditional Christmassy vibe, but I will say, looking at the colors individually, I think they also work really well for a lot of different occasions, and honestly, I feel like they all kind of work as any time of year polishes as well. So starting off with the one I was the most excited about, this is Sleigh Yes, and this one is a silver hollow glitter polish, and you can see this is 2 coats. It gave me really nice opacity, and it looks very holographic, but it's even more holographic in person. It was absolutely mind-blowing, and I really did like that coverage in 2 coats, but just out of curiosity I applied a 3rd and I found it got even more intense and full coverage that way. Again, just a little bit too opaque to be a topper, but I think it would work really nicely for glitter gradients. But I just love to see this level of holographicness from a mainstream brand. Again, I don't think my camera does this one justice. I think it's so much more holographic in person, but I feel like we really only get just a subtle amount of holo in mainstream polishes usually, so I think they did an incredible job here. And then we have the second holo shade. This one is called You'll Love This, and it is a beautiful, super vibrant, kind of yellow toned green jelly that is totally packed with a scattered holo. And this was another one my camera did not do justice. I felt like this in person was so sparkly, it literally looked like a Christmas tree with all of the lights on, which I thought was so fun. And I think that this is such a fun Christmas green kind of color. Having that sort of yellowy tone, it feels a little grinchy. It feels a little bit more bright and playful to those more elegant, like blue toned greens. And I just think it's so festive and fun. It definitely feels like it would be perfect for a Christmas tree manicure, but I love it on its own as well. And then last but not least, we have the shade Claws a Commotion, which is a really beautiful, very vibrant cherry red cream. And you can just see on that first stroke, the opacity is unreal. This one did have a little bit of that jelly-like formula that you tend to see with reds like this, but it almost felt like a crelly because it wasn't quite jelly. It was somewhere in between being a cream and a jelly, and I think that that gave it such a perfect formula. It ended up being so stunning in 2 coats, and I feel like this is such a classic red color for any time, but it is especially beautiful for the holidays. I think it just gives that candy red vibe, which again, it's just very bright and playful, and it's a little bit more fun to me than the classic kind of cranberry red that you see this time of year. So another one I really loved. And here's all the shades together. So we've got the first collection is the top 2 rows, and that's the more classic wintry, almost elegant kind of colors. And then the bottom row is the second collection, which I think is the more playful, Christmassy kind of shades. And I love that they gave us both options here. I think they're so fun. I think all of these shades individually work really nicely as any time of year shades, so it's nice to have these staples to add to your collection. And especially in these formulas, especially with those top row of polishes, I think all of those can be tricky formulas to work with, and when it comes to mainstream brands, they can be a little bit chalky or they can be a little bit gummy, but these ones were just so easy to apply, and it really reminded me why I love cream polishes so much. I feel like I've been leaning so far into the specialty finishes lately, but every once in a while I get such an incredible cream formula that I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I love. But that being said, I had so much fun with these holos as well. I think they were such amazing quality. You really couldn't see the depth of holo on camera, so I might do a little short outside to show you how holographic these are because they are so intense and fun. So yeah, anyway, let's talk about them a little bit more. So yeah, those are all the polishes, and overall I am really pleased with them. I was so curious to see if Orly was going to go down the traditional holiday route this year or if they were going to go with the more classic winter kind of shades. And I feel like they gave us a little bit of both, which I really appreciate. And honestly, I can't decide which I like more because I feel like depending on my mood, sometimes I want just a classic wintry vibe and sometimes I do want to go all in with the holidays. So it's really nice to be able to have both options there. And I feel like individually the shades also kind of work for multiple seasons or just multiple holidays in general. I just personally love the way that Orly curates their collections because I feel like they always just look so beautiful side by side and they always tell a really good story. But yeah, I have to say I am just so impressed with the formulas here. They were so easy to work with, so beginner friendly, but I was especially impressed with those holos. I think as far as scattered holo goes, this has to be the most holographic I have ever seen from a mainstream brand. Usually they tend to cut the holo with a little bit of silver or whatever metallic color, but this time we really got so much holo. And I will say my camera does not show as much of the holo as is in real life. I feel like these ended up actually looking so much more holographic. So if you thought they looked really holo on camera, I think you'll be really impressed with how they look in real life. So yeah, now let's get into pricing and availability. All these polishes come in 18 milliliter bottles, which is absolutely massive. They do feature a wide flat brush that has a rounded tip, and I think they actually might have improved their brush recently because I have to say the past few Orly collections have been so much better than usual. Like the brush just feels easier to use, even though it was easy to start, but now it just feels even smoother. So I definitely appreciate that. But yeah, all of these polishes are available individually and they retail for $10.50 USD each on the Orly website. So I'll link that down below, or you can get the little sets. I don't really talk about it, but their 6-piece collections do always come in a little box set. So I think they're actually very cute little giftable sets, but I especially love their trio boxes because I feel like these are even more giftable. I just feel like, I don't know, it's like a perfect little gift size. But yeah, that's it for my thoughts. I'm curious to hear from you though. What do you think of these two collections? Which of the two do you prefer? And also, which color is your favorite out of each of the collections? Let me know in the comments. We can chat about it. And if you enjoy my swatch and review videos, please hit that like button. It really helps me out. It lets me know I'm doing a good job. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe. I love you all, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye. Time for another difficult would you rather question. This one is, would you rather spend the day wearing wet socks or with a popcorn kernel stuck in your teeth? This is another hard one because I'm sure most people will agree those are two very uncomfortable experiences. I feel like in the wintertime when you have wet socks, it is actually the worst feeling ever. But I actually love the taste of popcorn, but because of the popcorn kernel getting stuck in your teeth thing is so prevalent when you're eating popcorn, I actually don't even eat it often because sometimes it can literally take me days, even with floss, it can take me so long to get that kernel out of my teeth. So truly an awful experience. But if I had to pick between the two, I would probably pick the popcorn kernel because in this scenario, I'm assuming there's a guarantee that by the end of the day, I will get the popcorn kernel out of my teeth. Whereas sometimes, like I said, it takes me a little bit longer, but I don't think I could spend a whole day with wet socks. Maybe this is weird. I don't like wearing socks. I wear them when I have shoes on, but when I am at home, I will not be wearing socks. I will be barefoot or I'll wear slippers, but I'm curious to hear from you. So let me know, would you rather have wet socks for a day or a popcorn kernel stuck in your teeth for a whole day? Let me know in the comments. We can chat about it, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.